Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. In this series we are learning about the design pattern, and today we will talk about the command design pattern. As per this concept, we have a client and we have some business logic. So what we do, we call that business logic directly in that client by using some dependency injection or by using some other concept. Let's talk about some real example. You are having one controller, you are having one repository. We use that repository directly in that controller and we perform all the operations from that controller. So this is totally possible and we generally do this in so many applications. But if we talk about this command design pattern, there is one additional layer in between them. Why we are using that, we'll talk about that in just a bit. But for now, just think that instead of calling this repository directly, we will have something in between which is called as invoker, and this invoker will take some commands from this client and it will execute those commands on the receiver side. Now at this point you will definitely think why we are doing this over engineering work. We can access the repository directly, why we are adding this extra layer. So to understand this concept better, let's understand a real-time scenario, and for that we will have to go to a restaurant. So in that restaurant we are having so many items that we can order. So if this restaurant is new, generally what happens, the cook, the main person that basically start that restaurant, and initially he will be the one who will handle everything. So it means the cook will also get the order, also prepare it and also deliver it to the customer. Similarly, we are having controller, we are having repository, we are calling this repository directly from our controller. All the operations are working fine. This is totally fine. But just think that after some time there are so many scenarios where you do not want to call this chef, this cook or the repository directly, because there may be so many situations. So for example, this customer is demanding something extra, right? This customer is expecting so many other items that other cook is preparing. So for that, to handle this total management, we need one waiter. What this waiter will do, this will take the order from this customer. Chances are that this customer needs some customizations in that order, right? So everything will be taken care by this waiter. But this waiter will not cook anything, right? Its job is just to take the command with all the customizations that this customer need. Once the waiter will have all the commands, then it will execute those commands. It means after receiving all the orders, all the item from this customer, this waiter will send them to the cook for the preparation, right? This is how general it works. Now this is a typical example of a restaurant, but in some other situations there could be some scenario that you are getting some order from your client, but you want to execute them in a specific order. This is also a possibility that you want to execute them immediately after receiving the order. So it means this middle layer will give you a total control of your order execution. If you want to execute them after a specific interval, that you can do over here. If you want to execute them in a specific order, maybe in a queue, that is also totally possible over here. If you want to execute them one by one, that is also totally possible. Plus undo functionality. So for example, after giving an order, if this customer wants to cancel it, so this waiter will cancel that command, right? So all these functionalities will be handled by this waiter itself. Now let's understand how this thing will work in a real-time C# application. And for that I will be taking that typical example. We are having the controller and I'll be working on the console application. So to be honest, there is no controller. We will have the program.cs. We will have the repository. From that program.cs file, we will be calling that repository, the employee repository. We will add some employees, update some employees, delete some employees. These basic operations are there. So here you will notice that this is my console application. This is the command design pattern, and although I have created this application by using the .NET 9, but I think this doesn't matter. You can use this concept in any programming language, in any version of your choice. I'm not using the database, I'm using this in-memory list. So directly I'm adding the data over here, and we are having this update employee, we are having this delete employee. All these operations are there. If I talk about the command, then this each operation represent one single command. So for example, we are having someone in the client, he will say, hey, add a new employee. Second command could be, hey, update this employee. Third command could be, hey, delete this employee. So these are some command examples that we can have specific to this example. If we talk about the restaurant, so first command could be, hey, I need one burger. Second is, I need a pizza. Third is that I need something else in my food. So these are some commands that we will give to the waiter. So there are two concepts. One is command, second is the waiter. But for the command, there must be some specific common format. So for that, first we will create one interface and we will have some concrete implementations for each command. Let's do that. So here I'm going to create a new file, and this is going to be command. In that command file, although you can create all those files in your solution explorer, but here I'm going to create all these classes inside this single file. So first of all, I'm going to create one interface. So let's say this is my interface and this is going to be I command, and there is only single method execute. Now I will create one first command, and which is going to be, this is my first add employee command. What I'm doing over here, everything that is required to work with the add employee, I'm writing that logic over here. So ultimately, to add this employee, we need the instance of the repository. We are having it over here, and you can resolve this dependency by using the dependency injection as well. Plus we are passing this employee object at this place, and we are having this execute method which is coming from this I command interface. And inside this one, what we are doing, we are ultimately calling the repository dot add employee, because this method is written inside this employee repository and we are adding this data at this place. Usually what we do, we call this method from our client. So for example, if I talk about my program.cs, right now I'm not using the command design pattern, I'm calling this repository directly. So I'm using this employee repository dot add employee directly over here, but this is something I want to avoid. I do not want to use this method at this place. I want to have a full command on that particular request. So that's the reason I'm moving that logic in this command. Similarly, we can have more commands. So this is going to be the update employee command. We can have one more delete employee. All these commands are implementing this I command interface. These are the concrete implementations. So each operation will represent one command at this place. Now we need a waiter. That waiter will set the command, will get the data from the customer and will execute them. So we need that class also. So let's create it. I'm going to create command invoker, and inside this invoker method, I'm going to have two methods. One is add command, or you can say set command, and second is the execute command. So here I'm using this list. So what I'm doing, I want to get all the orders from customer. For example, the customer wants to order 5 items. So I will get all those commands, and then once I will receive everything, then I will execute them. The execution is there in this execute command method, and what we are doing over here, we are using a for each loop on all the commands. So for example, if the customer wants to order only 2 items, then we will execute 2 of them. If customer wants to order 10 items, 20 items, then we will execute all of them over here. Now let's go to the program.cs class, and this time we will not access this employee repository directly. Okay, we will create the instance of that invoker like this. What we will do, this program.cs is treated as a customer, this invoker is treated as a waiter, and these commands, add employee command, update command, these are treated as a specific command or the dish that you want to order. So what we are doing, we are basically giving one command that I need to add one employee, and everything that is required to add that employee is over there. So for example, you are ordering a pizza and you are saying that, hey, I want this customization because this is very common everywhere. So those requirements are also there in this command. Now let's add more commands over here, and this time I'm using this update employee command. Now this situation is up to you. You can have any number of command at this place, and once you will receive all those commands, then you can invoke them. And how to do that? By using this execute command method. Let's quickly understand one more time. So at this place, we are having the waiter comes to you. At this place, you are giving the order to the waiter, and here this waiter is giving this order to the cook for the preparation. So this is how it is working. At this place, you can see that we are not accessing that employee repository directly, but here you can notice that we are having this. This is because we are using this console application, and in that console application we have to create the instance of this employee repository. If you are using some other concept, you can use the dependency injection, and then you will not see that instance at this place. This class will resolve that instance automatically by using the dependency injection. So ultimately, this program.cs has nothing to do with this employee repository now. So I'm gonna put some breakpoints at this place, and let's just run it. At this place, you can see that we are adding 2 commands. So here you can see that we are hitting our first method, and this is the command we are having, add employee command. Let's continue, and we are getting the second one, and this time it is update employee command. Let's click on this F10 button like this, and this time you can notice that in our commands we are having 2 commands. As of now, waiter is just taking the order. If I click on this F10 button, then waiter has everything that it needs to send to the cook. Now it will execute them. And for that, here you can notice we are calling this execute async method, and all the commands that we have received, we will basically execute them in our repository or to the cook. So that's it. Now you can notice if I open my console application, you can notice we are having two messages, employee added and employee one updated to this new name. So if I open this employee repository, these messages are coming from this place. We are using this add employee, we are having this message, and then for update we are having this thing. So this is how you can use the command design pattern in between your client and your business logic. And to be honest, this command design pattern is not required in all the applications. If your application need this kind of logic, then only you must use it. If you are working on some event based application, then I think this is a must use design pattern in that scenario, because this is something that give you a full control on your commands, how you want to execute them, how you want to process them. That is all about the command design pattern. If you are having some more questions, some feedback about the video or anything like that, then please share everything in the comment section below. And if the video is helpful, please subscribe to the channel, like the video and share it among your friends. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.